Welcome back to Psychology of Addiction. Where do you think like holistic care has its place in the treatment process?
I think it's huge, and it is something that's growing in a lot of the treatment facilities. Equine therapy, relaxation, yoga, EMDR, psychodrama, all that kind of stuff is really helpful. What, in my opinion, is most powerful is energy psychology, and that has not yet been introduced because it's not as well known. If the body and the brain is in homeostasis, balance, there is no addiction because there really isn't an overriding compulsive appetite. If I eat something and it's got enough nutrients to quell my appetite, and I don't have an addiction like sugar happening, I won't overeat and I'll be satiated and I'll be in balance, so I'll be in pretty good shape. If I go out of balance in any way, then I'm going to overbalance to get where I need to go, and our society is grotesquely out of balance. So we are left-brained tremendously, and we overwork all over the place. And so when we get off, we slam alcohol and drugs to get the right brain going, which is our more holistic brain. And it's reinforcing to do that. What we don't realize is we could do transcendental meditation, or we could do yoga, or we could do martial arts to get that right part of the brain going on. The whole idea of energy psychology is based on Eastern medicine and the acupuncture system and the idea of the three brains. So the conscious brain is in the prefrontal cortex, and it's 8 to 15% of what we've got. And the limbic system here is subconscious and chemistry driven. So the neurotransmitters are in part there, although most of them are manufactured in the gut of all places.
Interesting.
The back part of the brain is instinctual and more of a reptilian brain, but it's connected with each cell of the body. And so what happens is if you don't get into the subconscious part of the mind and into the body, you're really only affecting a certain percentage of what's going on. So one of the things I'd look at is many people use because of trauma in the past. So let's say that somebody was incested over and over and over again. Okay? Well, I think they would like to forget that. And I think that makes sense. So if you do enough alcohol and drugs, you forget that.
You forget it for a while anyway.
Right. But it doesn't take care of anything. So if you do regular talk therapy, you get the 8 to 15%. But you've got to get down into the deeper parts of the brain. And there's only 3 ways to really, really do that with therapy. And that's hypnosis, EMDR, and energy psychology. And energy psychology is based on the acupressure and acupuncture system. And so what happens is when you think about a trauma, your body corresponds directly on a cellular basis as if the trauma was happening all over again. And therefore I want to drink. Okay? But if I tap out on the acupressure system on a particular series, it will reinstate homeostasis and take the trauma out of the body and the back parts of the brain. And it's been shown with brain scans. So this is not just, some woo-woo, maybe this works. It is shown with brain scans.
Absolutely. No, I've seen brain scans with this the same concepts where you have all the areas of the brain, especially in the amygdala. That's right. The amygdala. But that section starts to flare up when a traumatic event or the reminder of a traumatic event. Then after this has been applied, you see the blood flow and the electrical activity. It's completely subsided. I think it was just so fascinating to see that right in action.
Mm-hmm. It's the most effective treatment that I know of for any kind of trauma or chemical problem. But again, it isn't the only thing. In other words, if somebody has ADD and you don't treat the ADD, and that can be treated actually naturopathically or chemically, then they're still going to have an appetite to use because their body is saying something's wrong, even if they don't know it, and they're going to continue. Especially with cigarettes. Many, many people with cigarette addiction are treating ADD and don't realize it. So if I was to do regular hypnosis for that, it wouldn't be effective unless I realized that they also have ADD and need to treat that.
I mean, it really goes back into the concept of the biopsychosocial assessment. I think that is a really wonderful way of looking at things because you're taking the physical aspects and you're looking at any histories of mental illness and even just examining their social environment, especially like family, friends. It's just really interesting because when you look at things on that level, that's really holistic care right there.
Yes, yes. And I think that there are huge areas in our society that certainly make it more likely that people would tend to use because we are so out of balance and we've lost a tremendous amount of hope and a lot of inherent feeling of meaning that we have, the spiritual component.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. When you're saying that everything's out of balance, and yet we find, we're seeing all these reports of, art classes being taken out of our school system and everything.
Right. If you look at it, you have a therapeutic window for neurotransmitters, okay? And not only neurotransmitters, certainly the endorphin system. And so if you're laughing, talking, getting good sleep, eating, have a real balanced life in general, all those indicators go up. If you're not eating well and you're not sleeping and you're not getting relaxation or good recreation or doing alcohol or drugs, that goes down again. And so we keep trying to medicate to get into that range, and we do it ineffectively. Because if you think of it, in some ways everything is self-medicating, but there are great ways to self-medicate and horrible ways to do it.
Absolutely. Well, that's all for now, but join us next time and we'll be delving into more information.